Assalamualaikum and greetings to our respected lecturer. We are one of the groups from MLC Kota Baru, and today we are going to present on a poem chosen, which is Please Hear What I'm Not Saying by Charles C. Finn. But before we start our presentation, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Anur Ayesha Rabia, and my ID is 208 2025 020028. Next.
Next is, my name is Nur Fatiha binti Zaidi. My ID number is 208-202-502-0002.
Next is my name is Ahmad Imran Kabi Ahmad Izham and I am from MSC KB. My ID number is 208-2025-020016. Next.
My name is Aina Sofia binti Harun. My ID is number 208 202 507 0040.
Okay, so without further ado, let me start the presentation first. So this guidebook aims to help readers better understand and appreciate the poem Please Hear What I'm Not Saying. It explores deeper meanings through this guidebook. Readers can explore deeper meanings behind the poem, especially emotions that are not directly expressed. The poem also focuses on the idea of hidden emotions and how people often wear a mask to hide their true feelings. While someone may appear confident or happy on the outside, they may actually feel insecure, anxious, or vulnerable in the inside. It also reflects universal human experiences, making it relatable to people of different ages and backgrounds. Because of this, the poem is often used in educational and counseling contexts. And in the poem, the speaker hides their true feelings to avoid rejection or judgment, but hopes that someone will understand them beyond their outward appearance. This highlights the importance of empathy and understanding others on a deeper level. Next, I'll tell you a little bit about the poet. So Charles Finn is an American poet and counselor known for his emotionally expressive writing. Um, Most of his work focuses on human psychology, especially feelings like insecurity, fear, and the need of acceptance. And this is one of his most well known poems, which is Please Hear What I'm Not Saying, highlights the idea that people often hide their true emotions behind a mask. His background in counseling helps him present deep and realistic emotional struggles. So, this guidebook is designed for a wide range of readers as it is universal, including students and adults who are interested in understanding human emotions and behavior. This guidebook emphasizes this poem emphasizes empathy and encourages reader to look beyond outward appearances, reminding us that many people hide their true feelings. So I'll pass to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Aisha. Let's move on to the title and theme analysis part. Let's discuss about title analysis first. Firstly, there are many implicit and explicit meaning in the title of this poem that could be considered. On a literal level, one may say that the title of this poem implies that the poet wishes his audience not to pay attention only to his verbal expression. Metaphorically speaking, the reader is invited to pay attention to the message that the poet wants to send using different means of communication. This title reflects the feeling of individual who wish to convey his or her experience, but does not have the opportunity to do so, which made him or her yearn for recognition of something that remained unsaid. This idea directly connects to the theme of insecurity, as the difficulty to express one's true feeling often comes from fear of judgment and rejection. Okay, let's move on to the theme analysis part. Secondly, the theme of this poem is insecurity. Based on what the title form, the poem title refers to the feeling of anxiety and uncertainty that people often experience. This point talk about the word that people often use to avoid talking about what they want to hear. Instead, they use them to describe what they want to see instead of what they want to hear. Moreover, hide them because we are afraid to be judged by others. In addition to that, this point also talk about the difference between the way people treat us and how they accept us. The line, the line from this point deeply reflect on our fear of being worthless. It is a defensive mechanism that prevents us from seeing our true self. Despite that, it can actually make them feel like they are missing something. Okay, that's all for my part. I will pass to the next presenter.
Next, I will present the interpretation of our chosen poem. Stanza 1. Don't be fooled by me. Don't be fooled by the face I wear. For I wear a mask, 1,000 masks, masks that I'm afraid to take off, and none of them is me. So for this stanza, the meaning is in this part, the speaker warns us not to be fooled by the appearances. They explains that the face people show is not always their true self. The speaker talks about the meaning 1,000 marks. This means they hide many fake identities because they are afraid to show who they really are. The poem repeats, don't be fooled, to focus the message. It also uses metaphors like masks to show people hide their true feelings. Overall, this stanza teaches us that people may hide their true emotions due to fear of judgment or rejection. Stanza 2. Pretending is an art that seconds nature with me, but don't be fooled. For God's sake, don't be fooled. I give you the impression that I'm secure, that all is sunny and unruffled with me, within as well as without. That confidence is my name and coolness my game. That the water calm and I'm in command. And that I need no wine. But don't believe me. My surface might seem smooth, but my surface is my mask, ever varying and ever concealing. Beneath lies no complacence. Beneath lies confusion and fear and aloneness. But I hide this. I don't want anybody to know it. I panic at the thought of my weakness exposed. That's why I frantically create a mask to hide behind. A nonchalant, sophisticated facade to help me pretend, to shield me from the glance that knows. So, the meaning for stanza 2, in stanza 2 of Please Hear What I'm Not Saying, the speaker explains that they are pretending. They act confident and calm on the outside, but the inside they feel fear, confusion, and loneliness. They show their confidence is not real. It's the only way, a way to protect themselves from being hurt and judged. The poem uses repetition like don't be fooled to show the main message. It also uses metaphors like masks and prison walls to show how the speaker hides their true feelings. Overall, this stanza tells us the people may hide their true, real emotion because they are afraid of rejection.
Stanza 3. But such a glance is precisely my salvation, my only hope, and I know it. That is, if it's followed by acceptance, if it's followed by love. It's the only thing that can liberate me from myself, from my own self built prison walls, from the barriers I so painstakingly erect. It's the only thing that will assure me of what I can't assure myself, that I'm really worth something. But I don't tell you this. I don't dare to. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid your glance will not be followed by acceptance, will not be followed by love. I'm afraid you'll think less of me, that you'll laugh, and your love would kill me. I'm afraid that deep down I'm nothing, and you will see me, and you will see this and reject me. So, for stanza 3, the speaker shows a strong emotional conflict between fear and hope. The speaker wants to be accepted and loved, but is also afraid of being judged or rejected. Um, they understand that love and acceptance could help the speaker feel better, but fear is stopping from opening up. And this fear becomes so strong that it prevents the speaker from forming meaningful connections, even though the speaker needs it. And the repetition of phrases like if it's followed by acceptance and if it's followed by love shows how important these feelings are. The poem uses free verse, which makes the thoughts feel natural and emotional, and the tone shifts between hope and fear, creating tension. Metaphors like self-built prison walls and barriers shows that the speaker is trapped by their own fear. The word glance suggests that even small understanding from others could help them. So, in a deeper meaning, this stanza reflects how people often want connection but are afraid to be vulnerable. It teaches us that emotional barriers are often created by ourselves, and empathy from others are rather important. Stanza 4. So I play game, my desperate pretending game, with a facade of assurance, without a trembling child within. So begins the glittering but empty parade of masks, and my life becomes a front. I idly chatter to you in the suave tones of surface talk. I tell you everything that's really nothing, and nothing of what's everything, of what's crying within me. So when I'm going through my routine, do not be fooled by what I'm saying. Please listen carefully and try to hear what I'm not saying, what I'd like to be able to say, what for survival I need to say, but what I can't say. So, in stanza 4, the speaker talks about hiding their true self behind a false identity. The speaker describes life as a game where they pretend to be confident, but inside they feel weak and vulnerable like a trembling child. The life becomes a front, meaning they are not being genuine. Even though they talk a lot, they don't but they don't even express their feelings. The poem continues to use free verse for a natural flow, and repetition of what I'm not saying highlights hidden emotions. The use of direct address makes it feel more personal and emotional. For the figurative meaning inside the poem is the game and the front symbolizes pretending. The trembling child within shows inner fear and insecurity, and the image of mask shows how appearance can be different from reality. In a deeper meaning, this stanza highlights the consequences of hiding one's true self. It shows how pretending can lead to loneliness and loss of identity. And also in the stanza, it suggests that real understanding requires honesty and effort from both people. So overall, both stanzas 3 and 4 shows the struggle between wanting to be understood and being too afraid to reveal true self. So that is all from me. I'll pass to the next presenter.
Next, I'm gonna presenting the meanings of the stanza 5. I don't like hiding. I don't like playing superficial, phony games. I want to stop playing them. I want to be genuine and spontaneous and me. But you have got to help me. You have got to hold out your hand, even when that's the last thing I seem to want. Only you can wipe away from my eyes the blank stare of the breathing death. Only you can call me into aliveness each time you are kind and gentle and encouraging. Each time you try to understand because you really care. My heart begins to grow wings, very small wings, very feeble wings, but wings. Um, so in this stanza 5 meaning, the speaker begins to express their desire for change openly, admitting that they are no longer want to hide behind their false appearances or continue to playing phony games. They also express a strong wish to be genuine, spontaneous, and true to themselves, but also want to acknowledge that they cannot achieve this alone. So the speaker asks for help from the others. So emphasizing that they need to for the support and understanding and kindness. So they suggest that when someone responds with care and empathy, it has a powerful emotional impact, allowing them to slowly grow and feel alive again. The image of wings symbolizes that this the gradual emotional healing and the possibility of becoming free from their fear and insecurity. So technically, this stanza maintains the use of the free verse, allowing the speaker's thought to unfold naturally and emotionally. So the repetition of phrases such as "I don't like," and I want emphasize that the speaker's strong desire for their authenticity and change. So the tone begins to shift from purely anxious to slightly a little hopeful. So this reflecting a turning point in the poem. The variation in line length continues to mirror the speaker's emotional state, while the direct address to the reader's emotional state, while the direct address to the reader strengthens the sense of the intimacy and urgency in the speaker's request for help. So, this stanza uses metaphor and symbolism to convey emotional transformations. So, the idea of playing games represents the speaker's acts of pretending and hiding their true self. The phrase like hold out your hand could symbolize the support, connections, and guidance from the others. Um, so most importantly, the image of my heart begins to grow wings serve as a powerful symbol of emotional uh, growth, hope, and the possibility of freedom. So the repetition of the very small wings, very feeble wings, but wings, and this could emphasizes that this change is gradual and meaningful, highlighting the fragile nature of the speaker's progress. So on a deeper level, this stanza could emphasize the importance of human connections in their personal growth and healing. So the speaker's request for help suggests that overcoming fear and insecurity is not something that can be done alone, but requires the empathy and support from the others. So the gradual growth of wings could reflect of how emotional healing is a slow process that begins with a small acts of kindness and understanding. So this stanza presents a shift from the their own isolations and hope from their own isolation to hope. So suggesting that genuine relationships have the power to restore a person's sense of self-worth and bring them closer to authenticity. So that is all from me. I'm gonna pass it for the next presenter.
Let's move to the last stanza, which is stanza 6. With your power to touch me into feeling, you can breathe life into me. I want you to know that. I want you to know how important you are to me. How you can be a creator and harness to God creator of the person that is me, if you choose to. You alone can break down the wall, which I tremble. You alone can remove my mask. You alone can release me from my shadow wall of panic, from my lonely prison, if you choose to. Please choose to. Do not pass me by. It will, it will not be easy for you. A long conviction of worthlessness builds strong wall. The nearer you approach to me, the blinder I may strike back. It's irrational, but despite what the books say about men, often I am irrational. I fight against the very thing I cry out for. But I am told that love is stronger than strong wall, and in this lie my hope. Please try to beat down those walls with firm hand, but with gentle hand, for a child is very sensitive. Who am I? You may wonder. I am someone you know very well, for I am every man you meet, and I am every woman you meet. Okay, let's move on to the meaning of this stanza. In this stanza, the speaker emphasizes the powerful role the other can play in helping them discover their true self. They explain that through kindness, understanding, and love, another person has the ability to bring them to life emotionally and break down the wall they have built. The speaker expressed a strong dependence on others to help remove their mask and free them from their loneliness and fear. At the end, the speaker revealed that the experience is not unique by stating that they are every man and every woman, suggesting that this struggle with hiding one's research is a universal human condition. From technical perspective, the stanza continue in free verse, allowing the emotional message to flow naturally and sincerely. The repetition of phrases such as "you alone" emphasize the importance of the other present role in the speaker transformation. The tone shift between hope and vulnerability, creating emotional depth. The use of longer, flowing line, creating emotion, reflect the intensity of the speaker thought, while the direct address to the readers strengthen the personal and engaging nature of the poem. The ending line creates a strong conclusion by broadening the message to a universal level. This tema uses powerful metaphor and symbolism to express emotional transformation. Phrases such as break down the wall and remove my mask symbolize overcoming emotional barrier and revealing one true identity. The shadow wall of panic represents the speaker's internal state of fear and isolation. Additionally, describing the listener as a creator suggests that the action have the power to shape and rebuild the speaker's sense of self. This figurative element highlights the contrast between confinement and freedom, reinforcing the poem's central theme. On a deeper level, this stanza conveyed the idea that human connection is essential for emotional healing and self-discovery. The speaker reliance and others reflect a deep need for validation and acceptance, suggesting that individuals often decline their self-worth through relationship. By stating that they are every man and every woman, the poem expands its meaning beyond the individual, emphasizing that many people experience similar struggle with insecurity and hidden emotion. This final stanza ultimately encourages empathy, reminding reader that understanding and kindness can have profound impact on other life. I think that's all for me.
Next, I'm gonna present the comparative analysis of the poems Please Hear What I'm Saying by Charles C. Fiennes versus This is a Photograph of Me by the Margaret Atwood. So in here, the comparative analysis, we can see both of the poems explores the idea that the deeper truths are hidden beneath the surface of their poems' appearances, requiring the readers to look beyond what is immediately seen or said. So as we can see, the similarities. The first that we can see is their hidden meaning. So as we can see, both poems show the hidden meaning beneath the surface. The surface means that we need to look more truly into the poems that it shows and understand more truly. So the second point is the poem's invisibility. So the Finn's poems shows that the emotional invisibility, which are the hidden feelings. Meanwhile, the Atwood poems shows the identity invisibility through the poem's hidden presence. So the next point is the reader's role. As we can see, both of the poems requires the readers to interpret and discover the deeper meaning of both of the poems. So the next point is the similarities in the themes of isolations. As we can see, both speakers experience the loneliness and the lack of understandings in the context of the poems. So next is I'm gonna compare between both of the poems' differences. The first one is their differences in the style. As you can see, Charles Siffin's poems is kind of direct, emotional, and a little bit confessional. Meanwhile, the Margaret Atwood's poems is kind of like indirect, subtle, and descriptive. So their differences. The next is their differences in the focus. So Charles Siffin's poems are more focused on the inner emotions and psychological struggle. Meanwhile, the Margaret Atwood's poems, her poems focus on the perceptions and the hidden reality. So next is their differences in the tone. The Charles Siffin's poems has the tone of the vulnerable and pleading. Meanwhile, the Margaret Atwood's poem's tone is kind of like calm but haunting. So next is their differences on the effects on reader. So as we can see, Charles Dickens' poems has the effects to create emotional connections for the reader. Meanwhile, the Margaret Atwood poems has effects of creates really realization and surprise for the reader. So next is I'm gonna show you guys the textual evidence of the both of the poems. Here is the first one is the Charles Dickens poems. I wear 1,000 masks that I am afraid to take off, and none of them is the real me. So in this phrase, it symbolizes the hidden emotions and self-protections, and it also shows the emotional invisibility. So next is the evidence of the Margaret Atwood's poems. But if you look long enough, eventually you will be able to see me. This phrase suggests that the deeper meaning is not immediately visible to the eyes of the readers, but it also shows truth requires careful observation of the poems. So next is I'm going to show you the comparison table from the aspects of both of the poems. So in the aspects of themes, the Charles Dickens poems has the theme of hidden emotion. Meanwhile the Margaret Atwood's poems has the theme of the hidden identity. So next is the aspect of the method of both poems. Charles Dickens' poems has the methods like a direct confessions, meanwhile Margaret's has the indirect revelations. So next is the comparison between the both of the tone of the poems. So the Charles Dickens has the tone of vulnerable, meanwhile the Margaret Atwood poems has the tone of the haunting, like I said before. So in the aspects of meaning, in comparing, the Charles Dickens poems has the emotional struggle, meanwhile Margaret Atwood's poem has the meaning of the perception and reality. So as we can see, in comparing, both poems reveals that the deeper truths are often hidden beneath the surface, and misunderstanding often occurs because people focus only on the appearances, and true understanding could require the deeper observations and empathy and effort. So while both of these poems highlight the hidden truth and invisibility, Charles Dickens presents this through emotional confessions, whereas Margaret Atwood conveys it through the subtle imagery and slight discovery. So that is all for me. I'm going to pass it to the next presenter.
Okay, so for conclusion, we can conclude that the poem teaches us that people may look strong outside but feel weak inside. So we should not judge others too quickly. Instead, we should show our empathy and understanding. That's all from me. Thank you.